Hi everybody, Lori here for Simon Says Stamp. Thank you so much for joining me today. I have to apologize up front. I am just on the tail end of a nice summer cold. So I have the congestion going on there, and I apologize for my goofy voice. Anywho, we are going to be creating a project featuring the Around the World stamp set and coordinating dies, along with the Earth standalone dies. I have two pieces of paper here, a solid color cardstock by Simon Says Stamp, Island Blue, and Green Apple. And I'm going to die cut this Earth, the solid standalone Earth die, out of those two shades of solid color cardstock. But first, I wanted to die cut a solid circle, something that I could adhere all the Earth die cuts to. So I took out one of my nested circle dies, and I wasn't thinking, but the coordinating die set for the Around the World has a circle die in it. So, but I think most of you have a nested circle die, so it doesn't matter. But you know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't need to pull out my nested circle dies, is the point I'm trying to make. Okay, so I'm cutting a little scrap of the green apple and the island blue, and I'm going to die cut the Earth into both of these. But before I do that, I'm going to do a little blending along the bottom half. So I started with Limalicious onto this green apple cardstock. It wasn't quite dark enough, so I switched over to the next shade darker, which is Perfection. By the way, these are Positively Saturated inks by Simon Says Stamp, and all the supplies that I'm using will be listed in the description box if you're watching this on YouTube. So this gives a nice little gradient for when I go to die cut the Earth. It'll give you that shadow along the bottom. Totally optional, but I thought it might be fun to do that. Another thing you could do is just die cut these both out of flat, solid color cardstock, and then blend like maybe a light gray along the bottom after you adhere it all together. So there's a lot of different ways you could achieve the shadow look. This is just one of the ways. Here I'm blending Cadet onto this island blue. I'm also using the Simon Says Stamp large blender brushes, which blend like butter. So there you have a nice gradient blue on that blue. And then I'm going to die cut the Earth die right into both of these. So I'm going to try to be careful and see if I've got this going the right way. Just make sure you've got South America going south type of thing. And I take it off camera, run it through my die cutting machine. I am using the Anna Griffin Impress. And also I want to mention I used a metal shim. And I do recommend that, especially for this die, because there's lots of teeny little islands and whatnot. They're probably not islands, but, they're probably like continents. I don't even know. Don't get me started on geography. Listen. Now, there were, even though I used a metal shim, there were a couple of spots. And I will say, the Simon Says Stamp cardstock is, I think it's 100-pound, but it's hefty. So I did take out my X-Acto blade, and just on a couple of little spots. And then sometimes, when there's a die and some of the pieces, you can pull it and tear it. But I just chose not to do that because I didn't want any snags. So that's where I used my X-Acto blade, just to get a nice, clean separation. So I was just kind of being particular, even though a lot of times I'm not very particular. But today, I don't know why, but I was feeling particular. I was feeling my precise self with the old X-Acto blade. You know what I mean? You get that thing out and you feel like a surgeon. Yeah, you've watched too many episodes of Grey's Anatomy when you get the X-Acto blade. Anywho. Okay, these two little doodads. I don't know what they represent, but we will get to that later. Actually, those are the leftovers. The water is actually all one piece. So this is the water. And I covered that entire white die cut with tape runner. You could also use liquid glue, whatever type of adhesive. And then I just set it down on that tape runner. It's all one piece. And now all you got to do is pop in the green parts for the land. And it's like fitting together a puzzle. And you just hope that you got it right. I'm not the world's best puzzle piecer. But I did okay on this one. Okay, and then some of the little doodads, you want to pull out the embellishment wand. That really helps. And then down there along the bottom, I just put a little bit of liquid glue in case I didn't get the tape runner down on the edge there. And then here we have, what is this over here? Is this Europe? I think that's Europe. Is it? Is that the UK? Now, I'm not going to give away my lack of geography education. Okay, moving on. But look at this earth. Look at how it's got that beautiful gradient shadow down along the bottom. Just look at it. Okay, now we're moving on to the card base. I have a panel of Nina Solar White, 110 pound, nice and sturdy for a card base. I use the Simon Says Stamp scoreboard to score it at 4 1/4. I'm making a side fold card, just reinforcing that crease with my beloved Teflon bone folder. And then I'm going to do something a little fun. I'm going to take this outline heart right here in the Around the World stamp set, and I'm going to stamp it all over the background using Seafoam ink. And I'm just doing this, what do you call this? Free range stamping. That's what it is, which I hardly do anymore. Free range without the misty. Just the old, kicking it old school. And you know what? The reason I did this is because it's so easy to work around the whole card base when you want to get a lot of different, just the little heart, but you want to stamp it all over the place. And I'm just kind of moving the earth to, get it to overlap the heart sometimes. I'm just kind of staggering it. This actually doesn't hardly even show up in the photography, but when you see it in real life, it's just a nice little subtle pattern on the background. It's like you made your own pattern paper. I don't even know if you can see it, but she's there. Okay, now here's one thing I like to do every once and again. I like to strip it up. But I will tell you, most of the time when I strip it up, I don't show the process of cutting the strips. And so today, you get the joy of experiencing that. This is what I call my redneck method. I don't measure anything. In fact, I started with the mini guillotine, and then I switched now to the comfort, or the middle size. Why? Because I had these longer panels that weren't fitting in the mini. So I'm just trying to trim little strips. I'm using all Simon Says Stamp solid color cardstock, I believe. I'm not measuring, and I'm purposely cutting some thicker, some thinner. I personally like the variation. I don't really like them to all be the same. I like some be thicker, some be thinner, and all that jazz. And I did go in rainbow order because that's my jam. And then now, right on that stamped card base, I put some tape runner on an angle to keep it fresh, keep it foxy, keep it fancy, keep it schmancy. And then I'm just working. I started in the middle, so I started with that light green, that green apple, and then I did, leaf green, Audrey blue, or maybe that's sea glass, island blue, whatever, some purples. I'll have the colors listed. I thought I used all Simon Says Stamp cardstock. There might be a little Concord Ninth mixed in there. I just pulled these out of my solid colored cardstock drawer, and you get what you get. I just pulled some rainbow colors. Back to the guillotine to trim off the excess. My favorite way. I just feel like I get it straight and sharp as a tack. Makes me feel like I have my life in order. A little bit of that Big Mama foam tape roll on the back of the die cut earth. And I'm going to pop this right in the middle. And then we're going to move on to one of the images in the Around the World stamp set is this cute little heart. And it's like a dashed line going into the airplane thingamajiggy. I stamped that with VersaFine Onyx Black ink on white cardstock, using the coordinating die to cut it out. And I just think that's so cute. I think that also looked really cute embossed in white on vellum. Okay, now for the sentiment, I'm going to emboss it. I'm embossing 2 sentiments, also from the Around the World stamp set. And these are going to be white embossed on black cardstock. So I prepped the cardstock with that Simon Says Stamp powder brush tool, which I love. I'm inking up the sentiments with Versamark ink. And then I'm going to pour on Simon Says Stamp white embossing powder. And I do stamp my sentiments 3 times. And that is because I'm a psychopath. No, I don't know why. I just feel like I'm going to get better coverage. I just never want to have an embossed sentiments that looks like you didn't ink it up enough. You know what I mean? Like there's not enough embossing powder on there. I'd rather go more than go less. Okay, then there is a coordinating like sentiment strip die in the Around the World coordinating die set, but I found for me it's easier just to use a little mini guillotine trimmer, cut out the sentiment strips. You can do it either way, but this little mini guillotine is so easy to line up a sentiment strip because the little cutting guide, you just line the letters up with the cutting guide and you can get the perfect spacing. I'm telling you. Here's the thing about the guillotine trimmers. Once you dip your toes in, you blink your eye, and next thing you know, you have every single size. And I don't regret it. Do I need 3? I used to say I don't, but now I think I do. I think I need all 3. They all serve very different purposes, and tools is what it's all about. Tools is just the joy of the craft. So I did put some foam tape behind these sentiment strips, and then I'm going to finish this off with a few little sparkling clear sequins, and using Barely Art glue and that embellishment wand. Bada bing, bada boom, sending you smiles across the miles. This would be a great one to send to a crafter that lives far away. Or it doesn't have to be a crafter, could be anyone in your life. And I'm sending you smiles today, sending you smiles across the miles. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for joining me. Have a wonderful day, and I will see you next time.
Hi there, I'm Heidi, Simon's mama and founder at simonsaysstamp.com. Thank you so much for watching our video. If you like what you just saw, be sure to press the thumbs up and subscribe to see more great content.